Hey, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Brown Gent. In this video, I've got a couple updates for you on some big airdrops, but at the same time, I also want to give you an update on a couple things that I think we may have called out a little earlier. And I'm so happy that, not happy that some of this stuff happened, but happy that at least my intuition is somewhat being spot on. So let's get into it. But before we do, just remember, nothing I say here is financial advice. Please do your own research before you make any decision. And if you want extra coaching, guidance, and support, feel free to join the Web3 Secret Society and join the other 100 or so people who found a lot of value in that. Links to this are all in the description below, and every link and every website I show you will be linked as well. The first thing I want to talk about is Block. So Block is a SocialFi campaign that has been going on for quite a bit of time. Now, one of the realities, and I covered this in my guide earlier this week, or I guess 3 days ago, where I talked about the SocialFi strategy, is that just like with everything else, when it's neglected, when it's not top of mind, when it's not super diluted, it's extremely valuable. But as people started to jump in, as people started to farm it like crazy, some people made multiple accounts to do the same thing. As influencers jumped in trying to get as many points as possible by posting about it every 5 minutes, well, they end up taking up a ton of the allocation. And at the end of the day, it makes it even less worthwhile. So a couple of things happened with Block that I think were pretty bad. Number one, as always, they took the Polyhedra playbook and decided to launch on either Ethereum mainnet. At the same time, if you went to claim it, so it says I'm not eligible, but that's because I've already claimed. So if you scroll down somewhere here, it actually will let me see. Maybe it's here. There's somewhere here where I'm able to see. What the hell? Okay. Anyways, basically what happens is once you claim or once you've gone to the airdrop, it basically will show you how much of allocation you have. In this case, I had 117x block. You could claim and burn 70% of the value. But then I went to go check. I'm like, well, this was yesterday morning, or not yesterday morning, yesterday afternoon. I checked out the price and it was 28 cents per token. And if I get 30% of my 100 or whatever, that's basically like 35 to 40 tokens at 28 cents. Probably about like 13 bucks, 14 bucks. But you see here, because we're on Ethereum mainnet, it'll be $18 just to sort of, to swap it, let alone transacting and getting this into my wallet. So obviously this is a non-factor, not worth it. There's obviously a price point where it becomes worth your time to do it. In this case, I was like, you know what? I'm going to let it sit for 6 months, get the maximum, and hopefully the block token goes up. Now, a lot of people were frustrated. They went to Twitter to complain, the Discord. The typical terms come out, right? Rug, scam, people got farmed. Listen, guys, these guys, none of these protocols are altruistic. Everybody is doing this for their own benefit. You are doing it. So are these protocols. Don't get upset when you don't get as much as you wanted. The reality is this is a zero-sum game, people. You guys are fighting with each other to get as much of this pie. I think the challenge here is everybody is a bit naive and they think that everyone can win and everyone can get thousands of dollars, because if everyone's a winner, then no one is. And that's just a reality. Like, Block can't just sit there and print money out of nowhere. So one of the things we're going to start seeing is this equilibrium. And this is exactly what I pointed out last week or 3 days ago, talking about how as more people jump in, this becomes less lucrative. People jump out, it becomes more lucrative, and people will start looking for tickers and other ways to find a competitive edge in this space of SocialFi. Just getting started. We'll have to see how it goes. Another update here is on Beyond Blitz. So Beyond Blitz was another one of the protocols that I had mentioned. You could earn multiple points by doing a bunch of quests. Will be interesting to see what the final points look like. Just taking a calculation, if we do straight linear, I got 2.29 out of 376 billion. It comes out to about 20 bucks. So, nothing particular exciting. maybe it won't be linear, maybe they'll cap it. I think the biggest problem with a lot of these SocialFi campaigns right now is somebody who has 100K or a million subscribers or a million followers, what will happen is they will get the majority of it. So if you do it in a linear fashion, well, how we have whales who sort of dominate liquidity protocols. You have these whales in the influencer space who will literally get more social engagements just because every post they see has a lot more breadth. Now, obviously, from Beyond's perspective, they want this, but how do you balance it in a way so that you don't want community not to sort of jump into these? And in fact, I think these other protocols that are doing this, they're hurting the ones that follow right after. So another one I've joined recently is called Pixel Points. I've just got into it, so I will be doing all of these social tasks, basically replacing one ticket for the other, right? So all the information is on this sort of screen. You just got to use the sort of $ Pixes, and then use their @ on Twitter, and then you're good. I put my referral code here if you want to check it out. No need to do that whatsoever. An update on data ownership protocol. So this was actually somewhat of a surprise. So the first thing happened yesterday morning when I logged on. I think it was like 6:30 a.m. or 7 a.m. our time. And people were posting in our Discord talking about this because about 2 weeks ago, when people were complaining around the airdrop and people not thinking they got enough from the testnet, I had asked the team point blank around the Galaxy Quest. I'm like, does this incorporate that? And they said, no, there will be another allocation for that. So I had thought it was a bunch of tokens. I was pleasantly surprised that they did the nice part of Manta, which is they let you get a random NFT, and that NFT would get you some tokens. So there were 4 different cards that you could get: the ace, queen, king, or jack. Obviously, ace being the most valuable, jack being the worst. I'm actually fortunate enough that I drew the ace. In fact, I got the best one, treasure chest. I put 50 Matic. Ironically, I sold it at 50 Matic, and it ended up going up to about 100 Matic at the high point. But if you don't have it yet and you've completed these quests on Galaxy, all you got to do is scroll to the bottom and you hit the claim button, and it will literally get you the NFT. Make sure you do that soon. And if you're interested, you can go into the Magic Eden website and search and literally sell the item that you have at whichever price point. I know some people told me that they were buying some of these NFTs as well because they're trying to speculate on them. My position with all of these is typically hype will always be more precedented or more unprecedented than what actually is delivered. And this was the fact for Manta. I had sold some of the biggest NFTs that I had gotten, and I'm so glad I did, because once Manta sort of announced the allocation, these things dropped by like 50 to 60%. So, I'm not saying it's going to be 100% of the time that happens, but hey, just keep in mind there's multiple ways to play this. The next one is Linea Park. Now, Linea Park is I'm so happy this park is over. This is so many activities over the course of 7 or 8 weeks. But what was very interesting was the last week they had their Easter surprise #1, where if you completed 60% of your basic task and you did your point proof of humanity, what happened is you qualified for a reward, and that reward came to fruition today. They did the surprise raffle. When I first saw this, I thought it might be a bit of a scam, so I did try it somewhere else. But turns out what it will do is it will check if your connected wallet is a winner, and you will have to do nothing. So in this case, I got the lowest prize, which hey, I hit the best prize on data ownership protocol, so I really can't complain. That's really the variance. 150 LXP. For those of you who are asking, LXP does not get sent to your account right away. What you have to do is you need to go to a website called Linea Build, and it's called like Linea Build Scan. And by doing that, you can actually put in your address, and by doing that, you can actually get what LXP balance that you have. So I think that a lot of people are sort of unaware about this. So they have this expectation that they should be getting all their LXP as they complete things, whether it's the Linea Park, whether it's some of the other activities they've done. I'm just going to show you right here. So what you do is you put in your wallet address on, lineascan.build. And by the way, what I will do is I will put this website in the description below. You click on this and you scroll down and you see you get your amount of Linea XP. I got 1201 right now. Now, nothing will come here for a bit. The team does do a very good job on updating on everything that's going on. So, very, very interesting. Guys, please, everyone always asks, what about LXP? What about LXP? It'll come. The next update here is on the Omni airdrop. I'm going to talk a bit about this later in more detail, because I think CC2 Ventures did a very good summary of it. I myself have about $70,000 in LRT, which is going to Eigenlayer. Did not come close to qualifying for this. If you are interested, you have to click on this link. And by the way, make sure you have your VPN on. I had to use the UK VPN just because for some reason United Arab Emirates was banned only because Qatar is banned from Omni. So definitely check it out. They did provide some some allocation to Injective Ninjas as well. And you have Miladies, Pudgy Penguins, but these are massive NFTs, and I get it. Part of this whole allure of having these pivotal NFTs is you'd only have it if you're an OG in the space, or if you literally were so committed. But Pudgy Penguins are so expensive. I can't imagine having, I think it's 25 or 28 ETH right now for the floor. Who wants to put that kind of money into something like this to get Omni tokens? The next update is on Neptune. So if you remember, Neptune is a protocol that I talked about in the past with Injective, right? We talked about a couple of test nets. Neptune was one of them. They're working on their airdrop campaign, right? Hydro Finance was the other one that I used to talk about back in December. Well, what's interesting is you can now earn parts of their airdrop. But the most important one that stuck out to me was their Delegator airdrop unlocks 4% of the Neptune supply, regardless of size delegated, while the leaderboard allocation unlocks up to 8%. So this is definitely something that you want to consider, right? I think it is very interesting. The snapshots are taken each week. One thing I'm not certain on is if it only matters when it's in the active set, because when you do take a look at the Neptune validator, it is in the inactive set. So that part, you could do what you could do, because the commission is 5%. You could wait and just wait to see exactly what happens before you get in. But it is definitely an opportunity to look into. Now, for me, it won't matter, because as you know, with my IBC portfolio update, which I implore you, if you haven't already, to watch, I don't stake any more of my Injective. In fact, Hydro Finance, their launchpad, was the last time I had it staked. An update here, and this is not an announcement or a confirmation by any means, but guess what? We've got another potential Dimension airdrop with Allin Bets Gaming. So this is definitely a decentralized platform, basically bringing gambling into crypto. We've seen this with Goal 3 when it comes to sports betting, and I think they have a bit of a lottery system as well on ZK Sync. But very interesting to see this partnership. While they're not going to specifically, give us anything massive or any sort of confirmation on a specific token, definitely something to look into. I think this is likely going to have an airdrop, and that's why I bring it up. The next one here is, guys, if you haven't already, one of the beauties of having this, this private Discord in the Web3 Secret Society is there's lots of conversations. And within those conversations, I've learned about this group called Banter Crypto. I believe they're a YouTube channel. But part of this that's very cool is they're about to launch their gummy airdrop, and all you got to do is use some of their free services. One of the things you could do is go to Banter Bubbles. I literally just leave this on, leave it on while you're doing something. I do think the visual is very nice. So you can see here, if you click on the top, when you go on the website where it's counting up for me, you click on this and you sort of sign into your Twitter, and it just starts the tally, and eventually it will get you to the point. I think it took me an hour for it to pop up with this. You qualify it, you put in a Solana wallet, and you're good. But I also think it looks very nice, right? Like this is a nice way to show what's happening with the crypto market. So definitely something to consider if you haven't already. The next one that I want to talk about is, Whales Market's talking here, but really it's around Foxy. So the Foxy airdrop, which by the way is so minuscule, but I always want to know, hey, is it worth it to get it? Well, we can go to Pro Whales Market. You can click on this to check your eligibility, and you can type in your wallet address. Now, this is exactly what I did like probably 12 hours ago and got this note. Sorry, I'm not eligible, but hey, if I wanted to, I could buy the token that I probably would have got for about like a couple bucks on the market. Definitely something, just to look at, be considered of. The next one is a mint from Zora. So a couple things here. Number one, anytime imagine.zora.eth is posting something, I definitely consider minting it. One of the things, guys, and I want to reaffirm this, when you go to this link, click on this arrow, okay? If you are minting it, click on this arrow, click on copy. What it will do is it will put your wallet address there, and that way you will get your own referral ETH just for minting. So you get like a 1/7 rebate on it. The default is mine. So hey, if you don't want to change it, hey, albeit, but my recommendation to you is clicking this button, getting your own copy of it, and taking that rebate for yourself. Okay, so that's one. The next one is around Parcel. So as you guys know, Parcel wrapped up season 3, and we're about to get the Parcel allocation, right? So you guys know I did a draw. 5 people are allocated 10% each. But what's interesting is, with everything going on with Solana, it's sort of like the question I've been asked is, what am I doing next? And I'm still debating if I get involved in the perpetual points for the next Parcel allocation. So one thing you should do if you haven't already is make sure you go to the Parcel website and click on the get 10,000 perpetual points. Now, to put in perspective, I had 3 million points last season. Yes, I did get most of them from the referrals, which is why I gave away 50%. But 10,000 points, hey, that's still a significant amount of points. I'd recommend that you click on it before it goes away if it doesn't. Now, one of the things I do want to talk about, and I saw DGen Pilot is also talking about this, right? Like this feature on the feature on CC2 Ventures. So I'm going to bring this comment up because this is a comment that I have based my channel on for the longest time, probably since like late December, which is when people ask me why I'm not focusing on all these test nets, it's because testnet ROI is so minimal. And when you look at test nets, you're literally sort of exchanging your time for dollars, and there's just robots and everything else that are just so much more efficient than doing it than you. So it may take you a couple hours to do what like a robot can do in a few seconds or a bot can do in a few seconds. That's why I've been focused so much more on capital allocation and being much more strategic. So we'll talk about that at the end of this video. But if we look over here at CC2 Ventures, right, what he's getting a bit disheartened, and this is somebody who's made a lot of money this cycle with airdrops, right? Because he prepped early on when people weren't doing things, right? The number one thing you should always take away is you want to be doing what the majority is not doing yet. So if the majority is sitting there doing one thing, which is they were all doing test nets maybe 2 months ago, it made some of the liquidity things much easier. But now people are waking up and they're moving into that stuff, which also makes it hard again. So every time it's a continuous shift, right? Ways you can stay on top of this is by watching channels like mine. But unfortunately, while you're watching it, others are watching it too. And this is where like a competitive edge will dry up. And this is exactly why I've started to see that a lot of people are gatekeeping information because they don't want others to know, because they want to separate themselves. And hey, I don't have any issue against it. I also think this is where valuable communities come in, right? Because within your community, you're able to share as much as possible. I've gotten some alpha from people, and they've said, "Hey, don't share this outside." Sure, I won't, right? Because it's their alpha that they gave me, not the other way around or anything like that. So, I always tell them, "Hey, maybe you should," but it is what it is. So, what CC2 Ventures is saying here is, Tensor kind of screwed people over because they said it would be a linear airdrop, and then everyone basically got a baseline of 420 Tensor. Very similar to what we saw with Celestia, right? When Celestia Celestian Dimension. They got one Celestia token staked, got like 200 something Dimension, and it made it very clear to people, well, if you split up your stack, you made a lot more money. Omni, testnet, people got nothing. Not surprised, and I've been telling you guys this forever. This part was surprising for me and for him. He has 10K in eigen layer on his public address, not a top 10K staker, right? And we're going to continuously see different ways it's measured. For alt layer, you had to have 800 or 900 points or of eigenlayer by that time frame. Obviously, like what a lot of these protocols will do is they're going to look at the average of what people have, and they'll maybe set a threshold. Maybe it's 35%, top 35, top 15. They don't want to just give it to everybody. We saw this with Pyth too. Pyth was the top 1,000 Pyth stakers, which was the reason that the only meaningful airdrop for Pyth stakers, which was Wormhole, literally, like, what was the point? Like, you know, what was actually the point for staking the Pyth? Yes, I made a bunch of money on it, but forget that. So here, like, basically, you needed 100K starting in the past 3 months for 3 months straight in eigenlayer to get those to get this qualification for Omni. Now, yes, you know, we talked about the NFTs and how expensive they are. It's ridiculous. So he's saying Pudgy's are 41,500, which is actually way cheaper than I thought they were. So that's only 10 ETH. Over here, basically, Jumper, you needed level 13 for the eco airdrop. For Foxy, top 100K MetaMask users. Exactly. Like, it's kind of all over the place because they're not, like, every protocol has a very distinguished way of doing things, and they're usually contradictory, which is ridiculous. So, like, Polyhedra cared so much about just number of transactions, not about the quality of transaction or the amounts. In terms of DeBridge, it cares more about the number of the dollar fees paid, which is a little more consistent with Orbiter Finance because they have the O points. But once again, it gets a lot confusing. Liquidity-based airdrops will always be profitable, but not everyone has ample liquidity. And that's just a reality of it, right? One of the things you guys just have got to realize is this is exactly how you make money. You need money to make money. And this fake thing about doing testnet campaigns, I believe it's a distraction. And I'm not a fan of seeing when a lot of, like, you know, YouTubers and stuff, you know, the shit ones, they'll just sort of try to keep you distracted there while they'll put money and, you know, they try to farm views and do all this stuff. Like there are way other options for you to build up your liquidity and then use your liquidity in these airdrop farming campaigns. He says Linea and DeBridge are just disguised ICOs where your airdrop is proportional to fees. Yep, 100%. And basically, you know, what he's saying is, you know, there's still some places that are going to be successful. And, you know, once again, this is an equilibrium, right? So while he's saying people can get discouraged and stop, remember, the more people quit, the more lucrative it is. So remember, guys, we're in a PvP. This is not just a it's not a one sort of non-zero sum game. It is a zero sum game. There's gonna be winners and losers, and this is exactly what's gonna happen. What I think is very interesting here is this one sentence he said. These two sentences, sorry. Wormhole punished you for spamming transactions, where Polyhedra and Foxy rewarded you. So it's kind of like, you know, we don't know what to do. Like sometimes it's great and sometimes it's bad because the same behavior has different consequences. So couple things here that I want you to take away. Number one, there's possibility instead of getting involved in mints. So NFT mints are highly lucrative, especially in this market. What we've started to see is, like, for example, this based ape mint minted out in the normal phase in a minute, right? Not even a minute. And, you know, I had to buy it on the secondary market at 0.009 ETH. And the prices have already gone up like 50%. And this is, you know, for the floor. And the reason for this is, number one, mints are just highly speculative. So you have the opportunity to get in and get out. So what you want to do is potentially buy a mint or mint some NFTs that of a, you know, somewhat relatively popular project. You'll know this by the volume going in and everything like that. And the second thing you want to do is you want to flip them. You don't want to be held to this. So, like, if something goes wrong, you're done. So what I plan on doing is selling most of what I got here and holding on to one. And that's going to be more than house money, which is fantastic for me. And then on top of that, I can just take the funds and go somewhere else. This is exactly what I did last week with the based homes. And one of the things you guys should be looking at is, where is the popular chain? The most popular chain right now is Base. And the reason for that over anything else is because they're going to get so much inflow from Coinbase. This is why, I've been looking into a lot of memes recently. This is why the Brett meme is very popular. This is why Toshi is a very popular meme as well. There are others as well. And in fact, this gets me to the next point, which is, you should also be considering what are the other potential memes or ways to make money in this cycle that people aren't looking at. And for me, the eye opener, and this is something we've been discussing a lot in the private Discord, is that when you take a look at memes, what you need to be doing, I know it's exciting to mint these 1,000 or 40,000 market cap tokens. When you do that, you have so much risk where things just go to zero. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do them. I'm not good enough to be able to do that with a successful enough clip where I don't get rugged on a ton of them. So I don't do that. What I do is I look at narratives. I look at what the potential top tokens are. I look at each chain, the chain where volume is going in, and I buy the top meme coin on those. And I make sure I look at levels. So I understand how, for example, if I was to show you guys here, this coin is called Resistance Dog. And what I wanted to do was, I wanted to make sure, this is back probably 4 days ago. Over here, I bought in on a retest of a previous support level, right? I literally waited, and if it kept going up, so be it. But it came back down, retested, bang, bought, and it's been taken off ever since. In fact, I am 4x my money at one point. I'm currently up 3x. But the whole thing here, right, is meme coins are especially good if you find the top one on chain, and also looking at chains where inflows are coming in. Just take a look at Toncoin. Toncoin is the Telegram blockchain, Telegram network. You see here, it's gone up 37% in the last week. Tons of inflows. It's flipped Cardano. It's flipped Avalanche, right? Just take a look at what other token has done so well in the top 50. Nothing. Everything. Most things were red this week, and the other ones are up single digits. This thing was literally up almost 40%, and this is where I think a lot of money's going to come in. $25 billion, and I am looking at this token right here, Resistance Dog, which has a market cap of $80 million. Like I said, I'm not betting the house on this. I'm not super going all in or anything like that. But, I did put a decent amount of money in this because of that narrative. And guess what? I will be taking profits, selling out, and doing all that stuff. But I'm looking at those top chains like Base, like Toncoin, right? Even ETH, Solana, right? Like you guys already know. For some of you, I think a lot of people play memes and don't talk about it because I think some people are embarrassed, but there's nothing to be embarrassed about because you're front running that narrative. Now, guys, if you do want to hear more about memes in the future, if you want me to make a video on the memes I'm buying and sort of talk about them, I'm more than happy to do it. Just comment meme, and I'm happy to sort of do it if I see enough of that. One thing I do want to talk about, and this was kind of disgusting, I was completely unaware of what happened with Pack Finance, and it came to my attention in our private Discord, right, the Web3 Secret Society. What happened was the Pack Finance had a wallet where they actually changed the liquidation threshold without sort of making any sort of thing clear. And basically what happened was, by doing so, they liquidated $26 million. And this is incredibly sketchy, incredibly terrible, right? You literally take a look at this, and it's just absolutely disgusting. And if I look down here, Pack Finance basically said, we are in contact with the impacted users and actively developing a plan with them to mitigate the issue. Unfortunately, this was a result of the liquidation threshold being altered unexpectedly. Let's just be straight up here. One of the things here is, I just have very zero trust in the team, guys. I was very honest with you guys on this video, the Blast L2 spilling the tea. When I saw Pac-Man come on the Bankless podcast and was talking about stuff, it just felt very off the way he was talking. I really like the Bankless guys, but this guy was so off. I talk about it in that video. I talk about why I was willing to take a $300 loss on the bridge or $250 just to get my money out of there. I think I have like 0.2 or 0.3 ETH still on Blast, but I took like, about 2.1 or 2.2 ETH out. Because the reality is, guys, like, you just see how a team acts. They hide information a lot. They definitely are hiding the fact that they didn't want people to know that it would cost so much to bridge out. Especially, they make it so easy to bridge in. They don't answer in the Discord. They allow scammers to post their links to their campaign and then tell you it's your fault if something happens. I was sort of like, I don't want to touch this. It wasn't just one thing by itself, but definitely something to consider. And you know what? Like, I don't want to say I'm happy that this happened. I'm just happy my intuition was spot on about this stuff. Kind of makes me feel weird. The next thing I want to talk about, and sort of the last thing, is really around this guy Edgar Pavlovsky. So he posted something on Twitter, I guess 2 days ago now, basically saying, okay, what should I build next? And my comment was a spine. People were like, wow, what did he do? Lol, that's a burn. And like, straight up, my thing around this is, guys, I definitely have my flaws. Like, straight up, that's what first thing I want to say here. I'm one of those people who, because I have very strong principles and morals, I definitely judge people who I feel don't, or who I think do really stupid things and don't care about others. A lot of times, this is somebody who's okay with burning the world just because they're upset. Like, this is a person who's literally throwing a tantrum and crying because they didn't get their way, and they just want to take their toys and go home. And this person literally is the epitome of a child. And that's why I said you got to grow a spine, because this person's not a man, definitely not a man at all. And I'm glad to see that they kicked his ass out of MARGINFI. MARGINFI was always something that sort of sketched me out. We a couple of days ago, there's a bit of drama around this whole thing. He's been talking about the fact that they were going to have a token, and it's like, this is not on Edgar to sort of confirm or deny on behalf of the team. It should never come through unofficial means. And I'm glad to say, hey, look, I'm part of a corporation. If you're out there giving, misinformation or disinformation, like Justin True likes to say, the reality is you're not good for the morale of this protocol. You're a dumbass, and I'm glad to see that they forced you out. They'll never. Let's just be straight up. They will never say that they let him go like this on their website. They won't do it that way. They would always have a comment like, well, we've decided to part ways. It wasn't a mutual benefit, blah, blah, blah. The reality is, like, it looks like a forced resignation. I don't know because I didn't see it, but if I had to sort of bet on it, that's what I would bet on. This is somebody who did not hold themselves very well. There are screenshots circulating about them throwing a tantrum because, once again, they didn't get the way that they wanted. And for me, I was never involved in MARGINFI. I'm still not. I'm still not that I'm on the fence, but I was definitely looking for another opportunity on Solana, like where to hold my funds, where to park some money, because if Camino Finance is not it for season 2, these are decisions I'm still making. But for now, MARGINFI I'm not touching with a 10-foot pole, but we'll see what happens, because maybe with this guy gone, maybe it'll get better. Who knows? Now, I do see that there are some questions here around Elixir. This is something I'm looking into, guys. Like, I do have a big presentation tomorrow, but I plan on covering Elixir at some point, probably either Friday or Saturday. So, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. A little longer than I wanted to, because we covered a lot more stuff. Post in the comments below if you want to hear about sort of like the meme tokens that I'm looking into. Guys, remember, this is a PvP, right? Like, you've got to continuously adapt, evolve, and be at the cutting edge. Guys, I told you back at the end of December, early January, exactly what people are realizing now. Test nets are not worth it. This is like easily not worth it. Like, stop being distracted. Stop trying to do many things. I do coaching sessions with people, and the number one thing I find is people are spreading themselves too thin. You don't need to be able to claim every airdrop. What you want to do is say, okay, where do I think the best airdrops will be, and let me focus on those. Yes, all these other things, great. But I'm sure people are going mental, getting burnt out. They're unable to do everything. And they're so hard on themselves because they don't want to feel that feel bad moment when they don't get something. But the reality is, you've got to be okay with it, because you can never capture everything. And people will always come here and want to like tell you and shill their bags to you. You have no idea, guys, how many people I get messaging me, DMing me, sending me essays about a protocol, and they can't even explain it in a few sentences. Like, what probably my biggest pet peeve of people is, like, they'll send me something, send some incoherent gibberish, and think that means I'm going to now talk about it on a video, or I'm going to go jump in and whatever. If I don't know what it is, and if I don't see clear value, I'm like, hey, have fun, good. If I miss it, so be it. Like I said, you've got to be comfortable saying no to things. And sometimes when you say no to things, you're going to be wrong, and that's fine. But your goal here is to make sure that you focus on making the right choices for the ones you do get into, and prioritizing the right things. And the only way you do that is if you're able to say no to something. If you do everything, if you try to do everything well, you'll do nothing well. Okay? So, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.